to find a job. Once upon a time, there was a young man named Tom. He lived in a small village with his family. Tom dreamed of having a good job to help his family, but there were no opportunities in the village. One day, he decided to go to London to look for work. Tom packed his small bag with clothes, some food, and a little money. He said goodbye to his family and promised to send money home when he found a job. He took a bus to London. It was a long journey, but Tom was excited. When Tom arrived in London, he was amazed. The city was big and full of people. There were tall buildings, red buses, and many shops. Tom felt a little nervous because everything was new to him. He found a small, cheap room to stay in and started looking for work the next day. Tom walked around the city and gave his CV to different shops and restaurants. Some places said they didn't need workers, and others asked him to come back later. After 3 days, Tom finally got an interview at a cafe. The manager asked Tom if he could make coffee and clean tables. Tom said he was ready to learn and work hard. The manager liked Tom's positive attitude and gave him the job. Tom worked hard every day. He made coffee, served customers, and cleaned the cafe. His boss was happy with his work and even gave him extra shifts. Soon, Tom saved enough money to send some back to his family. Tom was proud of himself. He learned that hard work and hope could change his life. Even though London was far from home, he felt happy knowing he was helping his family. Tom's journey to London became the start of a better life for him and his loved ones. A new chapter in Tom's life. As weeks turned into months, Tom started to feel more confident living in London. He learned how to use the underground trains, where to buy cheap groceries, and even made a few friends at the cafe. One of his coworkers, Sarah, was especially kind to him. She often helped Tom improve his English and showed him around the city. One weekend, Sarah invited Tom to visit the British Museum. Tom had never been to a museum before, and he was amazed by all the history and art he saw. Sarah explained stories about the exhibits, and Tom listened carefully. After that day, he realized how much there was to learn in the world, and it inspired him to keep growing. At the cafe, Tom's hard work paid off. His boss, Mr. Brown, noticed that customers liked Tom because he was polite and always smiled. One day, Mr. Brown called Tom to his office. "Tom, you've been doing a great job here," Mr. Brown said. "I'm promoting you to assistant manager. It's a small raise, but it's a step forward." Tom couldn't believe his ears. He thanked Mr. Brown again and again. That evening, he called his family to share the good news. His parents were so proud of him, and his younger sister even shouted, "Tom is a boss now." With his new position, Tom worked even harder. He started managing schedules, helping with orders, and training new staff. He saved more money and sent it home regularly. His family used the money to fix their house and buy a new bicycle for his sister to go to school. One day, Sarah asked Tom, "What's your next dream, Tom? You've come so far already." Tom thought for a moment and replied, "I want to study. Maybe take a course in business or hospitality. I want to keep learning and growing." Sarah smiled. "That's a great idea. There are many evening classes in London. I can help you find one." With Sarah's help, Tom enrolled in a business course at a local college. It was challenging at first, but Tom worked hard, just like he did at the cafe. Slowly, he learned about managing businesses, customer service, and even marketing. Years later, Tom's dream grew bigger. He saved enough money to open his own small cafe in London. He called it Tom's Village Cafe to honor his roots. The cafe became popular because of its warm atmosphere and delicious food. Tom's family visited him in London to see his cafe. His parents were emotional as they walked into the cozy place filled with smiling customers. "You've made us so proud, Tom," his father said. Tom smiled and said, "I couldn't have done it without your support. This is just the beginning." And so, Tom's story showed that dreams, hard work, and kindness could change lives. Tom's Cafe becomes a community. As Tom's Village Cafe grew, it became more than just a place for coffee and food. It became a community hub. People from different backgrounds came to the cafe not only for a warm meal, but also to share stories, laugh, and connect. Tom made it his mission to create a welcoming environment for everyone, just like the small village he grew up in. One day, an older gentleman named Mr. Edwards came to the cafe. He was a retired teacher who loved reading. He asked Tom if he could bring some books and leave them for others to read while enjoying their coffee. Tom loved the idea and created a small corner called the reading spot. Soon, people started bringing their own books to add to the collection. Tom also organized small events at the cafe. On Saturdays, there were storytelling nights where customers shared personal stories or tales from their cultures. On Sundays, local musicians played soft tunes that filled the cafe with joy. One evening, Sarah visited the cafe. She hadn't seen Tom in a while because she had started her own journey as a travel blogger. As she looked around, she was amazed at how much the cafe had grown. "Tom, this place is incredible," she said. Tom laughed. "It's all thanks to the people. They make this place special." But Tom didn't stop there. He wanted to give back even more. He decided to start a program to help people like himself, young individuals who came to London looking for a better life. He offered free job skills workshops every month, teaching people how to write CVs, prepare for interviews, and work in customer service. One of the workshop participants, a young woman named Amina, approached Tom after a session. "Thank you so much, Tom. I've just gotten a job at a bakery because of what I learned here," she said with tears in her eyes. Tom felt proud but humble. "Just promise me one thing, Amina," he said. "When you're able, help someone else like this. Pass it on." Years later, Tom's Village Cafe expanded. Tom opened two more locations in London, each with the same friendly atmosphere and community spirit. His parents moved to London to live with him, and his sister, now an adult, managed one of the cafes. One morning, as Tom stood outside his first cafe, watching people come and go, he reflected on his journey. He remembered the young man with a small bag, nervous but determined, stepping off a bus in a big, unknown city. Life in London hadn't been easy, but it had been worth it. Tom's hard work, kindness, and courage had not only changed his own life, but also the lives of countless others. And as the sun rose over the city, Tom knew one thing for sure: the journey was far from over. There were still more dreams to chase, more people to help, and more stories to create. As Tom's Village Cafe continued to thrive, he realized his story wasn't just about his success. It was about building a legacy of kindness, resilience, and hope. He started thinking of ways to leave a lasting impact, not only in London, but in other communities too. One day, a journalist visited the cafe to write an article about its success. She asked Tom, "What makes this place so special? Why do people feel so connected to it?" Tom smiled and said, "It's because this cafe isn't just about food or coffee. It's about belonging. Everyone has a story, and I want this place to be where those stories meet and grow." The article was published in a major newspaper, and soon more people came to see the famous cafe. Some came to taste the food, while others came to meet the man behind the story. With the growing attention, Tom decided to use the cafe as a platform for more meaningful projects. He started a scholarship fund for young people in his hometown who wanted to study or start their own businesses. The first recipient was a boy named Ravi, who dreamed of becoming an engineer. Ravi sent Tom letters every month, sharing updates about his studies. When he graduated, he wrote, "Dear Tom, your belief in me gave me the courage to follow my dreams. One day, I hope to make you as proud as you've made me." But Tom's ambitions didn't stop there. He wanted to reach more people. With the help of his sister and Sarah, who had returned from her travels, he began hosting annual charity events. These events raised money for housing, education, and healthcare for underprivileged families, both in London and in his home village. One summer, Tom visited his village with his parents. He hadn't been back in years, and as he walked through the familiar streets, memories of his childhood flooded back. The villagers greeted him warmly, calling him London Tom. Tom noticed many changes in the village. The houses looked stronger, the roads were smoother, and children were running around with books and bicycles. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing he had played a small part in improving their lives. At a community gathering, the village leader said, "Tom, you have shown us that even the smallest dreams can grow into something big. You left this village with hope in your heart, and now you've returned with hope for all of us." Years later, as Tom grew older, he passed on the management of the cafes to his sister and trusted team. He focused on mentoring young entrepreneurs and giving motivational talks. His story became an inspiration for people worldwide, reminding them that determination and kindness could change not just one life, but many. In his final years, Tom often sat in the first cafe he ever opened, sipping coffee and watching the busy London streets outside. The reading spot was now a full-fledged library corner. The events were still as lively as ever, and the cafe continued to buzz with life. One day, a little boy walked up to Tom and said, "Are you the man who started this cafe? My dad said you helped him get his first job." Tom chuckled and patted the boy's shoulder. "Yes, I am. And one day, maybe you'll grow up to help someone too." Tom's legacy wasn't just in the cafes he built, but in the lives he touched, the dreams he inspired, and the communities he strengthened. His journey, which began with a small bag and big hopes, became a story of love, perseverance, and giving back. And so Tom's name lived on, not just in the city of London, but in the hearts of everyone who knew his story.